I landed in California thinking there would be barely any difference from the previous generation, my own bike, the Scrambler, the Street Scrambler. But the truth is that I was wrong, and now I'm not sure whether to be happy about it or not.
Palm trees in the heat wave bend. Same old story, different end. I don't chase what people trend. I just go where roads extend. Sunburn on a Monday drive. City hum keeps me alive. No big plan, just staying wise. Let the coastline improvise. Nothing heavy in my chest. Just a mind that needs a rest. If I'm lost, I call it blessed. Some detours age the best.
Before we get going, a quick note. As you've probably noticed, English is not my mother tongue, so every now and then you might feel like you're listening to Puss in Boots on a motorcycle.
Maybe once. But that is a name I have outgrown.
That's not the only thing you've outgrown.
Hey! I may have let myself go a little since retirement. Hanging up my sword was the best decision of my life. I have all the cream I can drink and all the mice I can chase. I'll get him later.
That said, I hope you enjoyed. With just over 10 degrees and a very, very dense fog, I hopped on this new Scrambler 900. The moment I fired it up, I feel a small difference. Maybe something only a few will notice. The throttle feels different. It's more immediate. The engine reacts instantly to the slightest twist. On mine, that first millimeter of movement sometimes goes by with no response from the engine or more sluggish or slower. Here I can choose the rev range I want to live in, downshift more precisely and roll on with better control. It's a very, very pleasant surprise because it means I can conduct however I like this cracking, wonderful soundtrack that rides with you. Downshifts, opening the throttle, cruising along calmly. In any situation, the sound comes with a very low purr, like the cat, but with a crisp edge. It's honestly super addictive. In fact, I couldn't believe this was a model they are putting on sale for the European market, so I went over to Stuart Wood, chef engineer for the Bonnevilles, to ask him a few questions. After listing the changes for the US models, side reflectors and less powerful daytime running light, he assured me this is the model for Europe. If that is really the case, impressive. The sound is even better than before, and it pretty much removed any need to swap the exhaust system for another one. It's a soundtrack you could easily put into Hans Zimmer discography and no one would notice. Another detail is a fuel cap, which is no longer threaded. In my opinion, it's better finished now than it was in the previous generation, where at least I have had some issues with the paint around that area of the tank. After the obligatory stop for coffee and a few photos here and there, we carry on through, now yes, gorgeous sunny California. These are supremely flowing roads running through super idyllic little valleys, and honestly, more than once I struggled to accept that I wasn't dreaming. This is when I start thinking about the changes this 2026 model gets. The new Scrambler was fitted with a new Showa fork with 120mm of travel, inverted this time, upside down, and shocks from the same brand with the same travel. They are now also adjustable for preload. There's also a new aluminum swinging arm at the rear and alloy wheels at both ends. Altogether, this has cut the bike's weight by 2 kilos. The overall design has become sharper, more modern, more sporty, and it uses the same instrument cluster as the Trident 660, the Speed Twin 900, etc., which has upset many. Alongside that, we now got a new IMU with lean-sensitive ABS traction control plus optional cruise control. The engine stays as it was, no changes, and we say goodbye to the front Brembo caliper I used to have. So with that in mind, and knowing it still comes with Metzeler 2 runs, which is a pretty hard compound tire, I was expecting a bike only slightly better than the previous generation. It's still a long way from a Scrambler 900 with Bridgestone AT41, Öhlins on the rear, wheelbase in the front, and slightly tweaked geometry and Magura brake master cylinder. Other changes, the subframe is a bit slimmer, so it may happen that many parts like the license plate holder or the tail tidy won't fit this model. After dodging a suicidal squirrel and post-launch, once we had settled into the bike, the Triumph guide led us onto a narrower road, even more flowy, at a much faster pace. That's when I realized this bike, with these small changes, shouldn't work anywhere near as incredibly well as it does. It's not heavy steering, it drops into lean without effort, and direction changes take far less work than before. The suspension is quite simply better, it soaks up bumps more effectively, making the ride more comfortable. But it also gives better control at higher speeds and a clearer feedback from the road. I don't remember the previous one being uncomfortable, as Stuart said, but you reach its limit very, very quickly. So with a grin from ear to ear, we pull up at the foot of a gigantic US flag. I find Stuart again, thinking they must have changed the handlebar too, by the way. It feels wider and flatter. I know the seat is different, and by the way, I did not miss mine, which has a bit more extra support on your butt. And sure enough, he confirms the handlebar is different. It's not just flatter, something you will spot at the glance in the onboard shots in this video, but it's also 10.7mm wider on each side, and they raise it a little bit. Stuart suggests that difference and feeling may also come from the weight they shed at the both ends thanks to the new wheels. With less rotating mass, the bike turns and leans with less effort. The brakes are from J1, and to be honest, you don't miss the old Brembo setup, as nice as it was to have the Italian logo on it. I also took the chance to ask about the throttle feel. He tells me that when they get the chance to open the model up, they use it to make as many small tweaks as possible. So even though the power and torque figures are the same, there are small differences in how it's delivered and how inputs at the throttle are felt. So you can picture me thinking if this had been my bike, I probably would have not spent a €1 on swapping the suspension or the exhaust. And here I can also add cruise control alongside heated grips on a handlebar that feels far better than the old one. And then I step back and I look at it and I remember why I would probably stick with mine. Even though it's a beautiful machine, so well made, that, by the way, hides 140 meters of wiring. Personally, visually, it doesn't win me over the way the earlier generations do. The first air-cooled model came both with carburetors and fuel injection. Then we moved to the Street Scrambler and the liquid-cooled engine in 2017 with a strong styling change. In 2019, it was prepared for Euro 5 and gained 10 horsepower. And in 2023, it simply became known as the Scrambler 900. In 2026, on top of everything mentioned, it gets a little bit more modern and sharper, with those graphics on the tank and the digital instrument cluster. Another element that changed is the Triumph logo, by the way, now using the black triangle and leaving behind the retro version. It's been a process where modern has taken more priority than classics. I imagine they've got several reasons. Triumph may want to charm younger riders. They like sharper lines and being able to connect their phones to the bike. And with the digital display, they can do that. It may also be cheaper to fit the same panel to so many models. More units sold and fewer different parts to stock and maintain. But for you and me, who like our bikes a bit more retro, it's not great. I'll admit though, I forgot about the little screen almost instantly, and I actually found it much easier to read at a glance. But what I still can't make peace with is the color scheme. And maybe that's for the best. Because if Triumph suddenly put a Scrambler on the market with the blue-black livery of its cousin, the Boba, or in British green with a gold logo, I would personally have quite the headache. Anyway, thanks for being there. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to share it and drop a comment below. I'll see you next time, signing off from California and heading off to celebrate my birthday. Bye guys, have a good one.